All right. Hello, hello, Miss Jasmine. How are you
Hello.
today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure here. Now, Jasmine, I want to go ahead and just simply have you kickstart our interview. If you don't mind, tell me a little bit about yourself and your professional experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Jasmine Ayala. I been in Florida about 7 years. I have about over 20 plus years in business administration, most recently on the human resource side. With Labor Solutions, it was a well-rounded human resource one-stop shop where we pretty much start from recruiting all the way down to the hiring process, to then moving on into property management, where I held a human resource generalist position, where I also did the onboarding, the offboarding, um, benefit packages, dealing with any confrontations that employees had, any questions that they had as far as their benefits, any questions that they had regarding their payroll. Um, Pretty much did the start to finish to the hiring process. I have experience in on the payroll side. Um, I started with Labor Solutions doing payroll as a payroll clerk. I learned the ins and outs of processing timesheets as well as billing to the clients that we dealt with, um, which kind of gave me was a stepping stone to the human resource generalist position that I held for a few months. But I'm looking to learn more. I am in the process of obtaining my SHRM. So always looking to grow. I'm always looking to grow.
Awesome.
So that's why I'm out here wanting to be a part of the Vulcan clan.
Absolutely. And thank you for that introduction, Jasmine. Now, you said it yourself as well. You've officially been in a role such as a human resources generalist for officially a year now, right?
Mhm.
A
Yes,
year and 2 months. Now,
yes, ma'am.
before that, you were doing a bit of the human resources duties over at Labor Solutions for about 18
Close to
about
7 years.
5 to 7 years now. So
Yes.
you have the experience when it comes down to, as you mentioned, the full cycle recruitment from the
Mhm,
beginning of the hiring process to the ending of the hiring process itself.
mhm.
I also heard you say you did the onboarding, offboarding, as well as the I-9 that comes to play with that.
Yes, I-9, all federal documents, for the onboarding. And as far as the offboarding, I was in charge of doing the exit interviews and um, the obtainment of any badges or any equipment needed to be returned and things like that.
That's perfect. Now, I want to go back to us talking about, the onboarding, the offboarding, and, I-9. So
Mhm.
we know that in a role such as HR, there's confidentiality, right? So tell me or walk me through your process when it comes down to the best practice for handling or just storing sensitive documents, and I-9s or any medical accommodation requests. What is your best process with that or in the
Well,
handling of it?
in handling that, well, actually, in first of all, helping them um, pretty much fill them out, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, not everyone knows how to fill out the federal documents. Making sure that each square is filled out correctly. If they make a mistake, making sure we give them a new one, because I know, especially with the I-9, that they're very strict on how those are filled out. They have to be pristine. No mistakes can be made. You can't scratch anything off. You can't white out anything on those documents. So making sure that they're filling them out correctly. Once they are filled out correctly, the way we handled it in previous employers, they would go on to our HRIS um, processing center. Physical documents, physical papers, I-9s, W-4s, those would get put into a file, locked away, so that in case there was any questions, we always had that physical copy.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned that you also did payroll.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit more about your experience when it comes down to payroll.
Payroll, well, with the Knights of Columbus, I'm familiar with Chronos. We dealt with Chronos as far as that. So my job was to make sure that the hours were calculated correctly. And then we would put them into the Chronos system to where the payroll department there in Knights of Columbus would, do their part there. As far as with Labor Solutions, as I started as a payroll clerk, all the timesheets from each individual branch would collect their timesheets and they would send them into the corporate office, which was where I was based out of originally. And I would have to make sure the calculations were correct. If I had any questions, I would have to either contact the branch or contact the client itself. If there was a missing signature, because that was very important as well, because the manager needed to sign off on these hours just to let us know that they were correct. So any questions we had, we would stay in contact with the clients. Once that was done, we would put collectively all the timesheets, all the information, the hours calculated into what they now use Aviante. It was Quadrant PHR back then, but they are now, I believe, using Aviante. We would put that into the system. Our head payroll clerk would consolidate all the information, make sure everything was correct, and then we were in charge of printing checks and making sure they got out to the individual branches, making sure if they were supposed to get a check or if they were supposed to get a pay card or if they had direct deposit, if they needed any payroll paycheck stubs, we were in charge of handing those out as well.
Amazing. And how many employees did you say are running payroll for?
Well, I mean, Labor Solutions they have 4 different branches. So
okay.
We were a team of 4, and each of us handled one branch. So I was in charge of the Lake Wells branch, as well as the Bartow branch. And it's hard to say because each branch has a certain amount of clients that they deal with, and each client employs anywhere from 10 to 15 up to 50 or 60 employees at a time. So at every given week, it was quite a bit of timesheets. So it pretty much took up our Mondays and Tuesdays, sometimes into Wednesdays, to get everything processed.
Absolutely. And excuse me, as far as I know that we had a conversation off the actual recording here, but besides that, I know you mentioned that you are in the midst of getting your SHRM certificate.
Yes.
Tell me a little about that.
So while I was out on leave, I got together with RESCA. It is a program through the unemployment department. And they provided me with an information, a website by the name of Allison that pretty much has the SHRM for free. The program for free. Once I complete the program, I would have to purchase the certificate. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. I'm probably about a month in right now.
Awesome. That's exciting. Wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, when were you looking to start a new position, Jasmin?
As I had spoken with you before, Jarlene, I am currently on a temp assignment that is supposed to run into the end of the year. But I'm sure that as long as I give them notice, at least 2 weeks, because obviously it is the professional courtesy thing to do. As long as I give them 2 weeks, I'm good to go after that.
Awesome. So about 2 weeks of an offer date if extended. Awesome. I'll definitely jot that down in my notes here. But Jasmin, I want to thank you for the time that we have spent and giving me the details on your professional experience. I'm going to stop the recording now, but I do want to ask you to stay on the line with me really quickly so we can chat.
Absolutely.
Thank you.